YouTube video. And here at Unbidden Opinion, we're going to talk about generational differences, finance, love, trauma, and everything we experience in general life. So please hit the like and subscribe button to help me grow and even motivate me to create more, to address more of this juicy content. So today in our video, we're going to talk about the looming quiet quitting. Are the Gen Zs really rebellious at the workplace? Are they ill-mannered? Or they just so outspoken and they tend to speak their ideas blankly without sieving and fear of misrepresentation? So generally, quiet quitting, it came into realization back in the year 2022, 3 years ago, when it was as a result of the pandemic, boredom and everything. In this quiet quitting is the process whereby it's just a chance or a process whereby a person or an employee clocks in at their workplace and they tend to do the bare minimum. And are Gen Zs the first to do quiet quitting, or is it just being recognized right now? Because since time immemorial, there are some workplaces that have been experiencing high turnover rates, while others have not. But now with the current generation, it's the generation that's just getting into the job market. And it's a generation that is being misrepresented and mostly being tarnished in a bad array. Being one of the Gen Zs, I'm just here to try to present our perspective. My fellow human beings, my beloveds, you can kindly share your opinions in the comment section below so that we can get to know and to understand each other. Currently, like for instance in Kenya, the job market is so flooded that people are currently just trying to make alternative ways to make their income. Like for instance, you might have started a certain career path, but you are not able to get a job into that area, but you tend to flourish and thrive in another area. Let's say for instance you studied finance and accountancy, or you did engineering, you did whatever, you can name the course, the big 4 courses and other that are being rendered unmarketable. But now you come out here and then you realize, no, this was just fit to meet the status quo, but you were really not enthusiastic about it. So I tend to, my perspective is, quiet quitting has been experienced since time immemorial. But now the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic just tended to bring it to the limelight. And it's the time whereby the Gen Zs and some of the millennials who are trying to get into the job market. And in the workplace, it's tending to be people are addressing Gen Zs as being rebellious and not ready for the job market. But it just tends to be this is a generation that has grown, and there's been no exposure, because it's not like we are studying using mail. People are studying using phones. There's internet, you get to browse, you get to learn, you get to know, and people are just so confident to address their issues. And like in the time of colonialism, where people are trying to, after finding the independence, people are just finding it okay to have the white collar jobs. And like them, this generation is just ready for anything, because it's a generation that has been raised where teachers have been striking, there's been economic recession, there's been a pandemic. They're just so, nothing is constant. So we are just ready. We are ready for everything. Like for instance, you might get a person doing a 9 to 5, leaving 9 to 5 and going home doing their 5 to 9, and at the same time they may be doing a certain course, and this is just becoming it's a norm to a generation, because they're like, what is it with fighting for something so hard, something that you can just lose it at any time. And then another thing, the reason why the Gen Z seems not to be motivated is you can say the current economic status. the employers seem not to be compensating employees equivalent to what the economy is stating. You might find a person is so experienced, they have the needed skills to perform their job, but now when it comes to remuneration, the employer either downballing them, or they just it seems like they are doing them a favor, and this is also leading to demoralization. And you'll find like now a Gen Z gets to a workplace and they are curious, how often does this company do their appraisals? Or they tend to see the, let's say the millennials or the other Gen Xers, these people who have grown, like they have been in the career path, let's say for 10-15 years in the career path, and they're seeing no growth, there seem to be no change, people seem to be frustrated, or you see a loyal employee being laid off, they are not being recognized, they are not being compensated, and this is something that might at just bringing the rise of quiet quitting. But now to my fellow Gen Zs, I tend to ask, why would you accept to do a job that you're just physically there but you're not emotionally there? Why don't you just give an employer the chance to quit so that you get to grow and elevate in an area where you see you are going to grow and you're going to flourish? Because for instance, right now there are different avenues of making money, and like the old age where a person would have to do their 8 to 9 jobs, so that their 9 to 5 to be able to meet their bills, to pay their bills, and the paycheck are always hand to mouth. They're just living from paycheck to paycheck. There are different avenues that a person can do what they can get to chip into their finances. We have different options. If you're not ready for that job and you feel uncomfortable, I tend to say that there's no need of downballing yourself, doing a disservice to yourself, rather than just quitting, leave the job. But you also have to be strategic in your quitting, because I don't tell you that you can just quit today and then you start something and then you are going to, like a graph. You start today, you grow tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. I've been in different employment jobs, either as an intern, voluntary work, and I've seen how these things go. You get to learn. Give yourself grace, get to learn the job, get some skills. After a period of time, when you find the relevant skills, you can go out there and inject them somewhere where they are going to be beneficial. And also to also think another thing that's bringing forth quiet quitting is there's no clear communication on the expectations, both from the side of employer and the side of employee. The employer is not stating clearly they're expecting you to do this and this for you to elevate or to get a promotion, get an increment, let's say for instance. And the employees also with the different quote-unquote toxic workplaces. But we also know that in every good thing there's always a negative thing about it, and for every negative thing there's always a positive thing about it. So just like the employers and the employee to introspect and try to reach a consensus, so that to reduce the current turnover rates at the workplaces, because the employees are feeling there's no job security, and the employers are feeling like the employees are stealing their time, they are not meeting what they want. But in context, you'll find the employees delivering, but now the employer's expectations are not met, and the employee will leave at the designated time, yet they also, the expectation are not being met, because maybe they might be doing this thing and expecting a certain increment, but they're not getting it in return. Or you might also get like they are doing their best, that's the best they can offer, but without clear communication, there's this misalignment in the expectations. So yeah, that's for it for today. I want to get your perspective in the comments below so that we get to understand each other for stability, growth, and development. Yeah, thank you, and see you in the next.